This is part 2 of the winter bug out bag. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how I would use it out here in the field. It's going to be down to -9 tonight, but with that sleep system, I'm not fire dependent and I'm going to be toasty warm. I know this. But what I'm going to do for part 1, I'll put the link in the description box so you can check that out. It's going to cover everything in my bug out bag. And, so what we're going to do first, what I always do, I go out, I set up my shelter. After I set up my shelter, I'll go looking for firewood. Because it's all going to determine on your situation, but for me, I have a sleep system, like I said, that is not fire dependent. But if it came in and started, snowing or freezing rain really quick while I'm gathering firewood and I don't have a shelter, everything's going to get wet. I can't do that. I have to, when I have the time, shelter's first. For me, shelter's always first. Because I do not, have to worry about fire. Fire is for cooking, basically, and boiling water. I have snow everywhere. I didn't have to carry water in, which is another plus in the winter. Anyhow, this is where we're going to set up camp right here. And I want to also introduce a lifelong friend, Chris. Hi. Now, Chris and I have been coming out into the woods since we've been kids, basically, out back of the house and so on. We'd take a tarp, we'd take plastic sheeting, and we'd just go out into the bush and made many, many brush shelters, camps, and so on. I've been doing this since I've been a kid. And 90% of the time, he's been with me to date. I mean, even now, we get out many, many times of the year. I don't film most of it because I'm, set on, I'm showing you folks how to do things and stuff like that there. So he's not always in my videos, but 90% of the time when we go out, he's with me. We work great as a team, and it's, always a pleasure to go camping with him. So right here, I'm going to string across here, put up my tarp, and put down my other tarp, and throw my bedding and such on, and get my shelter put up. As you see, staked that down, made it into an A-frame, and stomped down the snow. That allows that I can throw this in there, and open it up. Well, I'll probably just open it up like this. So we have the silver up, which doesn't matter. But both of us are going to be able to sleep under the same shelter. And since this is not fire dependent, I can put it under all these trees and such, because I can make a fire in my cook area in a different area, which you should anyhow, especially in predator country. You never cook where your shelter is, your sleeping area. You always have another spot. So we're going to have another spot where we will make our fire inside. But I have that now that we can throw our gear in here if it started to rain or snow or anything like that, and our gear will stay dry. Also, this is why I wore the Gore-Tex pants, is I don't have to worry about getting wet because they're waterproof. That's some good wood right there. It's going to burn well. So here's a really nice one. I'm going to look around and get some more. Now in the snow like this here, I'm trying to find a spot to, put a fire. So I'm kind of just digging underneath the snow and see what's underneath here. and I can see that it's just moss and such. So I can clear a pretty good area. I seen that rock. I was hoping I could build it right on the rock, but I won't be able to. It's too small. But I'm going to clean up a good area here, and then I'm going to make a fire lay and build my fire on top of that. By putting the fire lay on, it will basically allow air to go up through my tinder, but it also keeps my fire from being on the snow and the damp ground. So it won't be, the water won't be sucking the heat out of my fire and making it struggle to burn. So any wet conditions, you always put a fire lay first, build your fire on that, and it will slowly dry the ground underneath, and by the time the fire lay is burned out, usually the ground is already dried underneath and it continues to burn properly. So that's my next step, is to build a fire lay. So that's the fire lay right there. Now these here are pretty big. And I want them big so it'll be a longer burn time before they actually get down to the snow. Okay, we've collected these trees here. You see some firewood there and all that trees there. We've got plenty of wood right now. We cut that up to have for a couple hours for sure, cooking our meals, and as well boil or melting snow for water, and just enjoying the fire. So I'm just going to cut that up and going to baton a little bit and start the fire. I'm roughing up this birch bark. Here's my ferro rod, and get that going. And I have this other birch bark all light with that. Then all these small branches I'll just set right over top. I take a whole handful and just kind of set that right on top. They're all loose, so you have plenty of airflow, and you just let her go. You just don't want to smother it. By doing this, you're not smothering it. Now that wood's already caught, and I can keep on adding to it. Add some of this to it. Not stick my head in the fire. There we go. Now I can just play around and keep adding to it. There's fire. The sun's going down. I'm not going to be able to film much more. We're going to melt some snow and such, but we have to put a couple pots on here at once. So I wanted to make this up, and so I could put 2 pots on, bring it over the fire, and let them both heat up, swing it out, and you know, get our pots and do what we got to do. That way there, it allows, you know, both of us to do, you know, boil water at the same time. Otherwise, I just put a tripod or whatever and hang it down. This here is a pretty cool little setup. I'll give you just a closer look at it. So I drove that stake in the ground. This here is a fork stick, as you see. Tied that off. Here's another fork in this branch. I tied that to hold it to this. Put a couple notches right there. Came down, and that's another fork stick. But it's all in one here. And then I've taken, carved around there so this here holds. So there we go. That's the 2 Canadian military sleep systems rolled out and on our pads. Now we're both on top of the tarp here, but once we get in there, we'll have about a foot between us. Those right now are just, you know, laid out. But once you get in them, we'll have about a foot between us. And that's how we're going to sleep tonight. It's about -9. It's going to be tonight. Right now it's about -5. And we'll be nice and toasty. I'll give you an update in the morning. Okay, last night we slept pretty good. It was nice and toasty. Tore down the shelter there now and such. Fire's all burned out. Gonna throw some snow over top of it and cover it all with snow. Melted a pretty good area here. I'll tear apart this here as well, my pot holder. And now, just wanted to show basically some of the tools that I would be using out here, and as well just how I would, you know, make fire and so on and stuff like that there. Now that's one day right there covered. I could easily go another couple days out here. I've got the food, I've got water everywhere, there's snow. So I'd be totally set with the gear I have because it's all proven gear to me. I've used it, you know, a long time and I know it all works. So that's very important if you're going to make out any kind of bag, bug out bag, whatever. Make sure you know the gear that's in it. So wanted to say, you know, have a good one, folks, and forget to say bye. Man, a few words. Have a good one, guys and gals, and talk to you later.